Okay, so now that we've gotten through the lesson, we are going to go ahead and practice with this concept a little. I want you to listen to the following paragraph, and then I want you to answer the questions that follow. All right? It was summertime, and all the lawns in the neighborhood had just been mowed. The sky was blue, and smoke reached into the sky from a neighbor's barbecue. On days like these, Jamie could jump rope in the backyard for hours. So now I want you to answer, what is the setting of the story and how do you know? Now I want you to remember, setting is where and when a story takes place. So check the paragraph for words that give clues to its time and location. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and write your answer. So what is the setting of the story and how do you know? So give me some evidence based on the text. Give me a prove it. All right, so now we're going to read this short story and then we're going to answer a couple questions about it. Olivia had been looking forward to the concert for months. Her favorite violinist was playing at the orchestra hall. However, she needed a nice outfit. Her best friend Haley helped her repair an old dress. Haley was always doing nice things for Olivia. Olivia couldn't wait to show off the dress. Hours before the concert, however, Olivia remembered that she was supposed to clean out the garage before she could leave. She'd promised earlier, and she always kept her promises. When Olivia lifted up an old pile of newspapers, she saw a wooden box. She picked up the box and noticed some strange scribbles on the lid. They looked like they were from some kind of alphabet, but not one she had seen before. It looked like it might be a combination of Chinese and hieroglyphics. As Olivia rubbed the dust and grime off the lid, the box rumbled and the lid flew open. Olivia dropped the box and stood in amazement as a genie appeared before her. "You have one wish and one wish only," the genie said. Olivia smiled. All right, so now I want us to go ahead and answer some questions about the story. I'm going to leave that story up so that you can refer back to it if you need to. But what is the conflict of the story? Remember, the conflict is the problem that the characters are faced with. Okay? So, what is the conflict of the story? A. Olivia wants to make a new dress. B. Olivia's mother wants to clean the garage. C. Olivia's friend Haley wants to help sew a dress. Or D. Olivia wants to go to the concert but has to clean the garage first. Okay. Number 2. What do Haley and the genie have in common? A. They are both human. B. They are both superhuman. C. They both do favors for Olivia. Or D. They are both related to Olivia. Now remember, find some actions in the passage that show the genie's and Haley's character traits. Right? That's what you really need to look for to answer a question like this. So find some actions in the passage that show the genie's and Haley's character traits. Go ahead and pause the video and then you can restart when you are ready. All right, so now we are going to read a quick passage, an excerpt from a story or a novel called Hard Times by Charles Dickens. And I want you to think about a few things while I read. So, what might motivate the speaker to make these statements about facts? You're going to notice the speaker talks a lot about facts. So, what might motivate the speaker to make these statements? So, why might the speaker make these statements? I also want you to pay attention to who the characters are in the passage. So, who are the characters? And I want you to think about the difference between the schoolmaster and his students as we read. Okay. Now, what I really want is facts. Teach these boys and girls nothing but facts. Facts are the only thing anyone wants in life. Only facts will be useful for all people. This is the principle I use to bring up my own children. I will use the same principles to bring up these children. Sir, stick to the facts. The scene was in a plain, bare, and boring schoolroom. The speaker had a big, square forefinger. As he spoke, his finger waved in the air as if to bring emphasis to every sentence. The emphasis was helped by the speaker's square wall of a forehead. His eyebrows made the base of the wall. His eyes were deep in his head, like two dark caves. The emphasis was helped by the speaker's mouth, wide, thin, and hard set. The emphasis was helped by the speaker's hair that bristled on the edges of his bald head. The speaker wore a square coat, and he stood on square legs. Lastly, he wore a big tie that looked like it wanted to take him by the throat and make him gasp. The speaker's presence made his speech sound more serious. In this life, we want nothing but facts, sir, nothing but facts. The speaker, the schoolmaster, and another adult stepped back. They looked at the children. To the speakers, the children looked like empty containers ready to be filled with facts. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and answer some questions about this passage. So, the speaker can best be described as A, a person who has an interesting appearance, B, a person who likes to teach art and music, C, a person who believes in one way of teaching, or D, a person who does not like talking. Go ahead and pause, and you can restart when you're ready for the next question. Okay, so the next questions. Which sentence from the passage best helps you identify the setting? A, the scene was in a plain, bare, and boring schoolroom. B, the emphasis was helped by the speaker's square wall of a forehead. C, the speaker wore a square coat and he stood on square legs. Or D, they looked at the children. Next, we have the conflict in this story is between A, the speaker and the schoolmaster, B, the speaker and the other adult, C, the speaker and the children, or D, the schoolmaster and the other adult. Our next question. What will most likely be the resolution of the story? A, the speaker's tie makes him gasp. B, the children are taught facts. C, the schoolmaster and the speaker fight. Or D, the speaker teaches facts to his own children. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to answer any of those questions, and restart when you're ready to move on to the next passage. So this next passage, and our final passage, is an excerpt from Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Now, while I read, I want you to pay attention to what the setting is of the passage. So what's the setting? What character traits would you use to describe the narrator, Jim? Okay, so how would you describe him? Kind of like we did with Magda. What are the character traits you would use to describe Jim? And what is the narrator's motive for jumping from the boat and running? Right? So why does the narrator, Jim, jump from the boat and run? I want you to be thinking about these things while we read. The captain whipped out of sight in a moment, leaving Long John Silver to arrange the party. It was as plain as day. Silver was the captain, and a mighty rebellious crew he had. The honest hands, and there were some, must have been very stupid fellows. At last, however, the party was made up. 6 fellows were to stay on board, and the remaining 13, including Silver, began to embark. Then it was that there came into my head the first of the mad notions that contributed to so much to saving our lives. It occurred to me at once to go ashore. In a jiffy, I had slipped over the side and curled up in the bow of the nearest boat, and almost at the same moment she shoved off. No one took notice of me, only the bow oar, saying, "Is that you, Jim? Keep your head down." But Silver, from the other boat, looked sharply over and called out to know if that was me, and from that moment I began to regret what I had done. The crews raced for the beach, but the boat I was in, having some start and being at once the lighter and the better manned, shot far ahead of the other boat. The bow struck among the shoreside trees, and I caught a branch and swung myself out and plunged into the nearest thicket, while Silver and the rest were still 100 yards behind. "Jim! Jim!" I heard him shouting. But you may suppose I paid no heed. Jumping, ducking, and breaking through, I ran straight till I could run no longer. Okay, so at this point, I want you guys to go ahead and answer the questions that are left. So you are going to need to match up the character traits for Jim with some of the supporting details that are listed. Okay, there are 5 character traits listed and 4 supporting details. Now, one of these character traits does not fit Jim. It is not a correct trait for Jim. You're going to cross that one out. Then the remaining 4 character traits, you are going to match up with the detail that supports it. Okay, so just draw a line from one to the other. After this, there is a list of words that you are going to decide which ones explain the way Jim feels about Silver. Okay, so you're going to circle the words that describe how Jim feels about Silver. Afterwards, you are going to find one sentence from this passage. This is part of why I'm leaving it up while I talk. You're going to find one sentence from this passage that supports a word that you chose. So if you said that you thought he was ambitious, then you would need to find a sentence in here that proves that Jim thinks Silver is ambitious. Okay? So you are going to go ahead and stop the video. You can rewind and look at the passage if you need to. You can pause so that you can read. But I want you to get this work finished. Afterwards, you're going to go into Coach Digital, and you are going to work on the newest assigned practice. All right, get to it. You guys are doing a great job.